Welcome to the EPL and UCL Talks.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into Manchester United's 2-1 comeback against Crystal Palace, and this one was, well, it was messy.
It really was. I mean, on paper, it's a win, 3 points. But if you watch the game, it was a fascinating study in chaos, wasn't it? It all hinged on a bit of luck, some individual genius, and some really honest admissions from the managers after.
Absolutely, and that's what we want to unpack for you, because this result, it hides this real tension at United. They went from being completely outclassed, almost inert in the first half.
Yeah, a mini crisis.
To then winning it through a really calculated diagnosis and this sudden strength and set pieces. So our mission is to break down the moments that really swung this match.
Okay, let's start with that crisis then.
Yeah.
The first half at Selhurst Park was, and I'm being kind here, dreadful for United. They just look disjointed, sluggish.
And the data backs that up completely. You look at the expected goals, the XG from open play, it was 0.01.
0.01. I mean, what does that even mean in practical terms?
It means they created nothing. Statistically, it's 0. There was no move they made that should have caused the Palace keeper any real concern.
And while that was happening, Palace were, well, they were dominant. They were putting United under so much pressure, Mateta was causing all sorts of problems.
Yeah, it really felt like it was only a matter of time before they scored.
They did. Or
Yeah.
they thought they did. Which brings us to this bizarre moment of Premier League history.
Right. So Palace get a deserved penalty. Lenny Yoro makes a really clumsy foul.
Yeah, classic stuff.
Mateta steps up, puts it away. But then VAR comes in and spots a double touch.
And this is where it gets interesting, because in the past, that would just be goal disallowed, free kick to United, right?
Exactly. But this is the first time a new rule, which came in back in June 2025, was actually used in the Premier League.
So what's the logic there? Why the change?
Well, the thinking is that just nullifying the goal completely felt too harsh for, a technical error, like a double touch. It's not like a player encroaching. So the new rule treats it like an infringement in the run-up, which means you just retake it.
It closes a loophole, basically. Keeps the penalty situation going.
It does. And to Mateta's credit, after a 2-minute delay, he just steps up again, goes the other way, and scores. 1-0 Palace, and they deserved it.
But that foul from Yoro, it just felt symbolic, didn't it?
Yeah.
Of how poor United were defensively in that half. It felt like a continuation of that loss to 10-man Everton.
Oh, absolutely. They looked fragile. The system just wasn't working, which, makes what Ruben Amorim did at halftime even more impressive.
He didn't make a huge tactical change, did he?
No, not at all. His observation was purely physical. He said he felt Palace were struggling and getting tired in the last 5-10 minutes of that first half.
So he diagnosed fatigue, not a technical flaw in their setup.
Exactly. He figured their European schedule, all that travel was catching up to them. He saw them dropping off just a tiny bit, getting a little sloppy.
That's a huge gamble, though, to base your whole halftime talk on the other team's energy levels.
It is, but it was calculated. His instruction wasn't complex. He just told his players to be more alive, to up the rhythm, up the intensity, and just push Palace over the edge. He actually predicted it. He said, when you increase the rhythm, they suffer a goal right away.
And he was right. Which brings us to Joshua Zirkzee. What a story. He was anonymous in the first half.
Completely. Losing duels, barely involved. And you have to remember, he was coming up on 364 days without a Premier League goal. The pressure on him must have been immense.
And then, 54th minute.
The turnaround was just seismic. The ball comes to him after a free kick. It's bouncing awkwardly, and he just unleashes this incredible half volley from a ridiculous angle.
A stunning, stunning strike. But what I found interesting was what Amorim said afterwards. He didn't just praise the goal.
No, and this is key. He highlighted Zirkzee's improvement in the duels in his link-up play. He said the striker's overall game got better, and that's why the team got better. It was about the process, not just that one moment of magic.
And that momentum was unstoppable. 9 minutes later, Mason Mount scores the winner.
Another huge moment for an individual. His second league goal of the season, but more than that, it was the first time he'd completed 90 minutes for United in the league. That's a massive psychological hurdle for him.
Okay, hang on. Let's pause on the goals themselves. Zirkzee's came after a free kick. Mount's came from a quick free kick. Is this just luck, or is this a deliberate plan?
It is absolutely a plan. This is not luck anymore. It's become their lifeline. With those 2 goals, United now have 10 set-piece goals this season, not counting penalties.
Wow, where does that rank them?
Joint most in the Premier League, tied with Arsenal.
So they've built a systematic strength there. And the manager was surprisingly open about how they did it.
He was. He basically said they were stealing a lot of things from other teams, just watching what works around the league and adapting it. It's pure pragmatism.
It's fascinating. And since you mentioned Arsenal,
Huh.
they were the gold standard for set pieces for a while, but it feels like they've dropped off a bit this year. What's happened there?
It's a great case study in how quickly these things can change. Two things happen. First, the obvious one. Opponents figured them out.
The element of surprise was gone.
Exactly. Coaches had the video, they analyzed the routines, the blocks, the runs, and they adapted their defenses. But the second reason is, I think, much more critical. It's a drop in their timing.
The timing, what do you mean?
Specifically on free kicks. Their success was all about the sync. The synchronization between the person taking the kick and the group of attackers making their move behind the defensive line.
Right, that split-second coordination.
That was everything. When that timing is perfect, defenders have no chance to react. This season, that sync has just been a fraction of a second off. And that's all it takes for a defense to get organized and clear the danger. United, right now, are getting that timing right.
We saw that with Mount's goal, but in a different way. It wasn't a complex routine. It was just quick thinking.
It was pure reactive genius from Bruno Fernandes. He just saw it. He saw the Palace wall wasn't set, saw Dean Henderson was still organizing things.
And he just went for it.
He just tapped it short to Mount, and they were caught completely cold. Brilliant, smart football play. And that assist, by the way, was his 56th for United in the league.
Puts him past Paul Scholes.
An incredible milestone for him.
It is.
Yeah.
But despite the comeback, we can't ignore the problems from the first half. Let's talk about the tactical tension around Amorim's 3-4-2-1.
Yeah, this is the big debate. Because Oliver Glasner at Palace uses the exact same formation.
And they have the second-best defense in the league, joint with Arsenal. How does that work?
It's all about the personnel and the intensity. Glasner's wingbacks, Munoz and Mitchell, are absolute engines. They're among the top players in the league for high-intensity running. They provide the width and the defensive cover.
Which United's wingbacks just aren't doing to the same level.
Not even close. And if they don't, the whole system starts to creak. The center backs get stretched. Palace's back three, with Richards and LaCroix leading the league in interceptions, are built for it. United's defenders, they're not.
And that structural weakness brings us back to what people call the Bruno problem, doesn't it? The argument that he's playing too deep.
Yes, that he's being used as a sort of quarterback next to Casemiro, and it compromises the whole team. We saw it in the 23rd minute. He gets pressed, bypassed, and suddenly there's a huge hole in midfield.
Okay, but I have to challenge that a bit. In today's game, with teams pressing so high, don't you need a player with his passing range deep on the pitch to break that press?
It's a fair point, but it creates two bigger problems. First, he's not a natural defender, so they get those gaps. And second, you're taking your most creative player away from the final third, where he's most dangerous. United's attack then becomes reliant on set pieces and moments of magic instead of structured play.
It's a tough balance to strike. Okay, let's get to the post-match fallout, because the real drama came from Oliver Glasner.
Oh, this was a bombshell. He basically went public and blamed the club's board for the result.
He connected the team's fatigue, the very thing Amorim exploited, to their transfer policy.
Exactly. He said they threw away the chance at a better season by choosing to save and not invest in the summer. He's saying, you knew we had Europe, you knew the workload would increase, and you didn't give me the squad depth.
That is incredible pressure to put on the board just before the January window.
Massive.
Yeah.
And it's compounded by injuries. Ismail Sarr picked up a swollen ankle. He's going to miss games. You've got players like Mbemo leaving for AFCON.
So his argument for more depth is suddenly very real.
It validates everything he said. You just can't play this high-intensity style with a thin squad.
So let's bring it all back.
Yeah.
Was this a massive turning point for United, built on smarts and set-piece strength? Or was it just a chaotic last-gasp rescue that papers over some really deep cracks?
And that's the big question for you, the listener, to think about. United are climbing the table. They have a decent run of games coming up. West Ham, Wolves, Bournemouth. They're close to the top four without playing particularly well. So does this mean that inconsistency just isn't as punishing this season because other top teams are struggling too? Or is this reliance on set pieces and moments of chaos going to be found out as soon as they play a really organized top-tier opponent?
A brilliant point to chew on. Can they finally turn all this chaos into some kind of consistent control? We'll have to wait and see. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.
Until then, may your tactical diagnosis be as sharp as Amorim's, and may your boards always spend wisely.
Take care, and we look forward to exploring the next big story in football with you very, very soon.